Welcome to the Outer Realm with Michelle DeRoche and Amelia Pisano. Airing live on the United Public Radio Network, 105.3 FM in New Orleans.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Thursday night segment of the Outer Realm. We are broadcasting live here on the United Public Radio Network 105.3 FM from the beautiful city of New Orleans. We are fully sponsored by the amazing folks over at Folgers Coffee who have been on our journey since day one. Thank you, Folgers. We love you. We appreciate you so very much. Also, big thank you to our other sponsor, Dr. Snick, aka Justin Snicker, the Sonic Surgeon, who is an award-winning composer of Halloween, horror, sci-fi, and dark wave electronic music that can be found anywhere that good music can be found. Tonight, it is a pleasure to welcome, for the very first time, Joshua Lewis to the show. He's going to be sharing his research and discussing how he uses a combination of intuitive abilities and the latest technologies to be able to capture evidence of the afterlife and communicate with spirits. Now, to be able to participate in the show, guys, you're going to have to go to the usual platforms, which tonight, of course, is the Outer Realm YouTube. We have UFO Gods and Extraterrestrials, UFO Paranormal. On Facebook, we've got, look at that. I love it when the phone goes and everybody in my family knows I have a dang show. Anyway.
It's Thursday. That's what I get.
It's great. Holiday mode. Anyway, Facebook, Outer Realm. We've got Canada's Most Haunted News on the flip side, Joe Montaldo, UFO Undercover, UFO Paranormal Radio, and United Public Radio. So get yourselves over there and get ready to join in the fun. But before, well, actually, I want to remind you people, any platform you're on, give us a like, subscribe, turn on those notifications. You might actually get a little surprise every now and then. So if you like what you hear and you like what you see, show us the support. We really appreciate it. Now, there we go again, child of mine. Thank you. We're going to play, because, you know, I've been harping at everybody saying, come on, let's get like let's have some fun with some little Folgers commercials. Well, I'm going to play 2 of them every bloody segment. And I am looking to get some new stuff coming up. So let's go. Tonight we'll play
Folgers, Bradley.
That's right. Hi. Do a commercial, Bradley.
The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup. Good morning.
Wasn't that easy, guys? Nice and simple.
See, you don't have to be in front of the camera. Shitty D's in the house.
Exactly. Nice and easy. So
trying the lamp thing tonight, you know what I mean?
There we go. So, everybody's chiming in. We've got Wayne, who made it first. Yeah. Woo. Tamara, Bradley, Summer, Adrian, Shady Linda. I have to. It's just we're calling.
I'm looking through the magic mirror.
I know. So I am just going to send our guest off his email. And if we want to get his bio done.
Yeah, I'll do a quick blurb here. Joshua Lewis, he sent us this bio, and I just love it so much that I'm going to just read it straight from him, because you can tell it's coming right from his experience and his heart. Joshua Lewis, someone with a troubled past, struggled to understand the world around him and his purpose within it. Following a simple spiritual path, he would come to understand his purpose in a very profound way. In 2012, his intuitive nature drew him to seek the truth regarding paranormal events and the existence of an afterlife. What he got was way more than what he bargained for. As his intuitive abilities developed, he discovered he was able to communicate with souls on the other side. With his new group, H.O.P.E, Helpers of Paranormal Entities, and his intuitive ability, he dedicated his time to helping spirits that were stuck cross over, as well as grieving people looking for closure.
I love
it's just
it.
so sincere and genuine.
I do. I like it. I read over, the bio, and I thought, wow, this is really interesting. Plus, he's been on the show before, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
I think he's been with the Syracuses, and it was really interesting. I was able to catch little bits and pieces of it, and I thought, oh my gosh, I love anybody who wants to delve into further research. And I know myself, I really like delving into spirit communication because it's just so different. There's nothing like hearing like an EVP. Some things, I mean, not now, of course, with technology, everything can be fudged. I'm still one of these diehards that I prefer to use, tape recorders instead of digital recorders. I like things like film cameras and Polaroids, things that just make it that much more difficult for things to bleed through. I always love trying to find a way of communicating with spirits and getting those answers. Everybody has questions about the afterlife. It's just a really big question. Just whether you're in the field or not. Oh, and here is the guest of honor. Hello. How are you?
Welcome.
Hello, everybody.
Hi. How are
Can you hear
you?
me? See me okay? I'm trying to fix my camera.
Yep, sounds good.
You
can move your camera up. Nope, you're perfect now because you sat back. You're good.
Nope,
you're good.
Thank you. This is good.
Hi, Penny.
Excellent. Thanks. This is awesome. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure. So how are you? How are you doing? We've really been looking forward to this. I guess where I'm going to start is where I always start, is humble beginnings. Not everybody just decides I'm going to, go searching for spirits on an average, unless they've had really profound experiences in their youth, or people in their surroundings have had that one thing that just hangs on and that you can't shake. What was it for you?
Well, excuse me, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
That's interesting. I mean, I discuss a lot of that in my book, and I talk about all the different, spiritual encounters, but also paranormal encounters, and the first ones that kind of really impacted me when I was, I have a wild past, and I talk about it in my book, and I talk about how around the age of 18, I was addicted to alcohol and drugs and stuff. I had a really crazy past, and I used to watch John Edwards. I used to watch Crossing Over.
Right.
The show was big then, that's when he was on, and there was some really amazing, powerful things he was getting. And then I remember that at the end of the show, there would be this small print, and it wouldn't say that, he was faking it or anything like that, but it would say this is for entertainment purposes only, and yada, 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 yada. And there was some of that they'd have to put, to show. But at that time, I didn't really, I said, there's something weird. Then I don't know. I think John Edwards is real, but I don't know.
Right.
And years later, I walked into a friend's house. They had a Ouija board, and I asked about it, and they said, well, we threw it away, and it ended up back in the house, and we don't know. And I heard that story a long time when I was a kid, and I nagged him, and I said, come on, let's try it. And it was me and my friend's girlfriend, and my girlfriend and my friend sat on the couch, and we, for about an hour and a half, used this board. We'd never done anything like this, or I had never. And the planchette really started moving, and it started answering. It started going to yes and no, and it'd go to numbers if we asked a number question and things like that. So we were getting intelligent responses. I knew I wasn't moving it. At some point, the energy got so strong that the planchette would just move on its own. It would just move away from our hands completely, and it would get to a letter and start to move to another one, and then it would die. So it would still need a little bit more of us kind of hovering around it. But for an hour it answered questions correctly. It said, you know, we miss you, we love you, to the people that we were asking for and stuff. So I knew for a fact, there was no question. I was firsthand there. I watched it. I did an hour and a half of it. I was checking people's hands. I was doing things, you know. At one point during that Ouija session, we were so engrossed in it, just so, you know, in it. And the board kept spelling B-A-L-L, B-A-L-L. And we're going, ball, what the heck? Why is it spelling ball? And behind us, because we were just on the board, behind us was their dog, Spencer. And it was just looking up at the counter at his ball. It wanted its ball. And so we weren't paying attention. The spirits were to say, hey, the dog wants the ball. So it was just an amazing experience. But I didn't touch anything for, you know, years and years after that, until I,
But that was it for
that
you.
was it, though. That was it. Long-winded answer. There you go.
Yeah. What is your thoughts with, like, you know, Ouija boards tend to get a bit of a rap. I'm always of the mind personally that it's more of a mindset. It doesn't matter what you're using, whether it's a voice recorder, spirit box, anything for initiating communication.
In a way, yeah.
Right. So, what are your thoughts?
I mean, it's really the same as yours. I mean, you know, a Ouija board is just a Parker Brothers, you know, a card, or what, I don't know if it's Parker Brothers, but I'm saying it's just a cardboard, and it's just you know, the plastic planchette. After that experience with the board, I went home, or I went back to Tampa, and where I was living at the time, and I made a board. Just out of cardboard.
Yeah, you don't need to buy one.
You don't need to buy one, and it worked.
No.
It worked, and then I didn't pick it up again for a while because I was going through my own stuff at the time, and that's really
that's a smart move.
Yeah, just because, I mean, you know, I was interested, but I wasn't in the right space yet. I was still going through my own personal trouble. So, I mean, can people explore this stuff if they're going through stuff in their own life? Yeah, they can. You know, is this for everybody? No, probably not. We know that. But I would say that, you know, anyone that asks me, you know, about the Ouija board or about other tools in the app, I created the free app that I have, the H.O.P.E Spirit Box app. And, you know, and I say, listen, you can do whatever you want, but I wouldn't recommend doing it unless you have some kind of connection with a higher power. And I don't say that has to be Jesus Christ, or it could be Buddha, Allah, Krishna. I don't care if it's just
your creator, basically, whatever you deem it to be.
Source, you know, whatever that means to you. A higher power of your understanding is fine, but it's got to be, that's got to be the go-to. And if you don't have that, you're kind of like a free agent out there, just kind of roaming, and like you can pick up on anything. I still get negative things once in a while. I mean, I don't get demons and stuff. I mean, that's very that you know, people think that every negative response is a demon, and that's not,
unless it's growling at you. I get that a lot.
Yeah, that happens a lot, and calls your name. I think the biggest issue with Ouija boards is they're highly accessible. Now the apps made things different, but before it was that. And really, you don't need to be on such a high frequency to communicate with anything. So you are going to incur more lower level entities energy, and that than you would of a higher energy or more light. That's just normal, but that happens with a recorder as well.
Yeah,
it can happen with anything. But I think the most important thing is what you're saying, that you need to have some, you know, it's mindset. And also, I think what's really important, I'd love to ask how you do this. You need to know how to close the door.
Yeah, I mean, I always open my sessions with a prayer, and I close my sessions with a prayer, and that's me closing the door. And that's, I've been doing this a decade now, and I do sessions almost every day because I have clients and group sessions and all kinds of things that I do. So I feel very protected, and you know, and I go through emotional things. I get attached to the souls that I'm talking to at times in a way that I feel very close to them, and it's hard to kind of pull back sometimes. This work can be messy in a way. You know, it's not perfect. You know, it's not always going to be rainbows and butterflies, but I don't get, I don't get growling. I don't get scratched. I don't get attacked like that. I
No.
get
Hopefully you
more.
never will.
Yeah. I mean, I have in the past. It's very rare, but
I
I've been
have.
doing it 10 years, and I've had some things happen. I've had some,
Yeah.
I've had a former tenant, a former resident here that just is a pain in the ass, and it's just the way it is. And I have
We
a
can
whole.
take care of that for you if you need it.
Well,
Easy.
I've never put my finger on a planchette and I've been scratched. So
yeah, I think that the majority, or not the majority, 99% of the stuff I've captured has been positive. It's been talk of light. It's been, we love you, we miss you, thank you. Keep helping people, giving hope. We're excited. A lot of positive things. A lot of loved ones coming through. But out of the 1% of negativity that I guess I've captured has been really just people that were negative on the other side. I mean, just like you would on a post on Facebook, you're going to get a lot of positivity and you're going to get some trolls. And I think that's just part of it. And you can block and delete, in a way.
Yeah.
So it's all like that. It's just navigating other human beings still that don't have their bodies. And, but standing firm in your faith. And, I mean, it's not clear cut all the time. I don't have it all figured out. I'm not an expert. I still am learning. I'm making mistakes all the time. I think that's important to admit. And
we're all making mistakes. That's how we're learning, and we're learning from each other. I think it's fantastic the way that you approach it. Have you ever had an issue with any of your group sessions with grounding, and any issues of them when they go home, if they have any continued experiences?
No, I mean, as far as I know, I mean, what I do is when people book a private session, a reading, a box session, or they join my Patreon and participate in the group sessions, I put out a meditation that I send a link to for everyone to do.
Great.
It's 15 minutes, and what it is the first 7 minutes of the meditation. It's a video, and you watch it and just sit in your chair and you listen to my voice and you follow it. And the first 7 minutes is a grounding exercise. So I teach you how to ground the cord. I do a cord. I call in earth energy. I call down the cosmic light, and we sit in the power for a few minutes. And then we do a visualization exercise where I take you I have you walk through your third eye out into the astral plane on a platform into an astral room. And you go inside this room and you sit down and you envision, you call on your loved one. And they have to have some kind of experience on an intuitive level with their loved one prior to me doing the session. And not everyone, I can't force you to do it. Some people get busy, they don't do it. And the ones that don't do it, their loved ones don't come through as clear. But the ones that do it, it's like the loved one was called, they were notified, they were told where to go, when to go, what's happening. They're given instructions, and it's become pretty amazing on the other side. I can tell because the comments are coming through and they're saying things like, we've been here, we're waiting, there's a group, and so.
Thanks for calling. That's my favorite. Thanks for calling. It's okay. That's awesome.
They have a lot of messages. Yeah.
I love that you take them through the grounding and the meditation. That's so important. I think that's fantastic.
I'll say this too. I mean, I'll go one step further that, whether you do paranormal work or whatever the heck you do, I don't care if you're a mechanic. If you're not finding some kind of regimented meditation, then you're missing like a major life vitamin, and it's as important as brushing your teeth and sleeping and eating. But we're not taught that. And so if everyone meditated for twice, once a day, 30 minutes, or twice for 15 minutes, the amount of spiritual things that would develop for them, the amount of the physical, any ailments, things would start to they wouldn't be sick as much. They wouldn't be tired as much. They would be balanced. And so, true meditation, sitting quiet, focusing either on a mantra or your breathing, or, whether it's bhakti or kriya or transcendental, it doesn't matter. Find something that you can do on a regimented, level every day. That's my 2
No,
cents.
I agree. I think for a lot of people, it's focus. You know, they can't get rid of the clutter.
Well, that's the whole point of, I mean, that's not the whole point of meditation. The whole point of meditation
is if you can get there.
is to connect. But I'll say this. I mean, when I first started meditating in 2013, I was initiated into transcendental, and, you know, the teacher comes and he whispers in your ear a mantra that's yours. And that's a word you're not supposed to share to anyone. And you sit there. And so for the first few months, all I could do was recite that mantra in my head. And these crazy thoughts keep coming in and and all I could do, I would never, I couldn't focus, like you said. But what happens is eventually the mantra is like a ball for your mind to play with. And so that you can go past the ball. And so, you can go past, the mind. And so eventually you go to a theta level and you lose the mantra. And the Maharishi said, a loss of mantra is a gain in meditation. So you want to go past it. So anyway, those are things that, definitely, but it was progress, it was progress. Now I can.
Right. Yeah. So you decided to base your research mostly on afterlife, not so much just a lot of people within the field. It's about finding the evidence of the existence of spirits, grounded or not grounded. For you, it has a lot to do with afterlife, and you've delved deep with ITC. Right.
Okay, so I think I understand what you're saying. Okay. I was trying to make sure I understood. So,
well, you set yourself apart, basically,
yes,
from
I understand
the norm.
what you're saying. Right. Okay. So the majority of paranormal groups, they're not looking to necessarily communicate so much, but more so prove the existence
well, a lot of people
of
are looking
spirit.
for the evidence.
Right. The evidence to prove that,
for the most part. But that's a big range. And I think that, not everybody gets how big of a range it is. It's not like just black and white. It really isn't. There's a lot of in between.
Sure. No. And I started out in paranormal, and paranormal is still in my name, but the fact is that it's evolved way past that. And so instrumental transcommunication that started with guys like, Edison and Tesla and Radovow and Jurgensen and so many others. Frank Sumption, the godfather of the spirit.
I knew Frank. Yeah.
So there's so many that preceded guys like me or anyone else that's actually legitimately doing this work. And there's a lot of fakes out there, and it's a shame. It really hurts. But this is no longer just trying to capture a hello or an object moving or something. I'm really trying. I mean, we're getting sentences and details that are verifiable details, clear responses that are coming out before authorities release them. I've worked with the Bix Institute. I've worked with PhDs doing this. I've proven my work many, many times and continue to, with not just audio evidence, but visual evidence. So I'm getting, wonderful, balls of light, orbs moving in, which is, I believe, the soul, the causal soul, what it looks like. And they're moving in and they're entering me. They're shooting out of my little white patch above my third eye. And they're doing all kinds of wonderful things. So it's a lot of spirit photography. So it's fantastic.
Right. Yeah, I agree with you on that. I think there's just a lot of television out there that keeps things, like I say, more very black and white. And you have a lot of people who aren't researchers or who don't even really know where to start. What they see on television is all that they know. So you pride yourself on doing things very differently.
I do.
Okay. Do you want to tell us about your processes and why you feel it differs from the...
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that it's just, I think that I'm, my goal when I first started this, and I was just in a paranormal state and just trying to pick up with EVP and basic little SB7s and stuff. I just, I was getting hellos, but I was getting help me's. I was getting help and so, I have a strong connection to Jesus Christ, I feel, and it's in a non-religious way. It's a beautiful thing. And so there was always this feeling that, I could with my own intent and will and faith in my higher power to call on or to ask for help, to also not just ask for help for some souls that were looking for it, but to also suggest some, well, to give comfort and talk to them, but to also say, hey, listen, I can't save you. I'm not here to say, I'm not a savior. But I can say, you can call on God, you can ask for God, you can ask for Jesus Christ, and I can pray with you to do that. And now there's two or more, and so there's a lot of power in that. And so after I would do that, they would say, thank you, I see the light, I feel the light. People could say, well, that's a lie, maybe they're lying. Okay, whatever. Then I rather risk them. I'm okay with them lying, get to the end and them saying, hey, we all fooled you. All right. Well, I tried and I heard that and I wanted to be there, as opposed to hearing it and saying, no, they're lying to me, I'm not going to help them. So that's the chance I'm willing to take out of compassion. And I feel protected. But I don't see many groups or whatever people necessarily doing that. I know there are rescue soul circle, rescue circles, or they do these soul rescue. I forgot the terms of them, but anyway, that's being done. That's beautiful. I just listened to a guy that I'm not going to get into who, but he's been doing this a long time, and a lot of people really value his word. And then he just recently came out and said, no, I don't think we can help anyone. I don't think we can help any souls. I don't think we can do anything like that. And it was just such a very strange pivot from what he's been, this love and light guy, and he was talking about that now. No, I don't think we have the power to help, and we're not supposed to do anything for them and help them. We can talk to them, but that's it. And I think that's after doing this long, I'm very surprised that's what he came up with.
And I tend to completely disagree, just from experience in helping, assisting spirits, that that can definitely be done. Maybe he just lost faith in himself.
I'm wondering if he has an attachment.
It makes you wonder. No.
That's a whole nother show. I'll tell you about that.
But I'm wondering, because that's the only way that you do some kind of 180 like that is when something else is in the driver's seat.
I see this person, Dolly, asking a question: are you psychic, clairvoyant? And and I am. I'm a psychic medium that works. I've done over, at this point, 2,500 paid readings and sessions with people. But that that didn't happen. I wasn't like 5 picking up on spirits. I didn't know that, and so that came about. When I started this work, it really started to open up, and I started to pick up stuff. I was told I was going to get the ability, and I didn't believe it. And then at some point when I noticed that I had it, my partner, Nikki, she has it too. And we both kind of got it around the same time, and or it was awoken, around the same time. And I started working with this woman, Deborah Lynn Katz, PhD. She has the International School of Clairvoyance.
Yeah, I know of her. Yeah,
amazing.
I think she's been on the show.
Oh, she might. Yeah. So she's. I worked with her for years, and became a great student of hers. And we just got done co-teaching an 8-week masterclass together, which was just like. It was amazing, because what it was about, we were able to kind of tag team in a way where I was able to say, Deborah's been my teacher for 10 years. I've worked with her on and off. And here I am 10 years later. I've got this channel. I've got this, this book. I've got thousands of hours of sessions and amazing proof and all this. And it's really, a lot of it was done with the foundation that she taught me. So it was really cool for her in the class to teach the students what she taught me as an intuitive foundation. And then I would then go and say, okay, now I'm going to show you how to use the gear and do this and work the app. So it was a really cool experience. So I am psychic, but I didn't know that, I didn't know that when I first started.
I think it's like anything, you can master and develop anything. And that's perfect proof of it. Amelia, we're just going to read off the questions, because we have a lot of like millions of audio listeners also.
Gotcha.
Yep. Thank you. Shady D, good to see you. Do you find within the past 2 years that the communications have increased with everyone? I'm guessing you're referring because of the pandemic, the quiet.
I gotcha. It's a good question. I would say with me, it has. I don't know. I'm going to be honest. I have tried to work with other people and we have done some amazing work together. Like I've had, I've reached out to channels. I've had friends. I had a mentor in this field that is no longer someone that I can say I respect anymore. That's a really sad statement.
That's sad.
So I don't know. There's a few smaller guys out there with smaller channels that I know and I communicate with, and they seem like they're getting better. They're progressing. But some of these bigger channels, I see more, like I said, faking going on and stuff. And and I don't know how else to say it. I'm not going to call out names or nothing, but it's painful. But I've seen an increase in communication for me. And I don't know. My work is the only work I can ultimately trust, I feel like.
Yeah, I agree with you. Do you think a lot of this fudging around, shall we say, comes from, like, I go back to television, like there's so many shows that are coming out, reaching out just to, and I mean, I always say, include myself in that, the average investigator, some of us have been at it a long time. For me, 20 years, I've done loads of television, and you see what goes on behind the scenes, you see what goes on the cutting room floor, and you see what ends up in front of, millions of people. That's not always what people think. But do you think it's because they make it so easy now and they reach out to so many people? It doesn't matter if you've been in the field 20 years or 20 days. If you have a story to tell, they take it. And it's not always necessarily, like, I've known people who've completely fabricated stories just to get on television.
Yeah, I mean, TV is looking for the next story. It's a machine that needs to be fed constantly. So they're out of ideas. They're regurgitating the same stuff. They're trying to recreate things.
I like
Formula.
I like you a lot.
Formula.
Well, I mean, that's just where we are with that. I've been interviewed so many times, from Discovery to TLC. I've gone up to the furthest point with them where it was almost like a greenlit show.
Oh yeah.
And every single time I have to sit there and I have to say, listen, I'm not going to fudge stuff. I'm not going to redo it. This is how I work. There's enough there that if we roll the cameras, we can capture enough. I don't have to, what's that sound and all this other stuff going on. But now you've got channels, I mean, I'm not going to knock Sam and Colby. Okay. I don't know. There's this, they got millions of followers and stuff. And I don't know. I've never really seen them. My daughter's 10 and she's checked out their channel before and she thought it was cool.
I've never heard of them.
Yeah. They're huge. Oh my God.
Maybe in the States. Yeah.
No, I'm just on YouTube, period. They got millions and millions of followers.
I've never heard of them. I would love to check them out.
Yeah, Sam and Colby. You can look them up.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think they've got I don't even know how many, but I mean, every video gets 2 million videos every upload. I mean,
that's crazy.
Or more. So they're getting, so I don't know. I'm not going to knock them because I don't know what they're doing, but I can tell that it's revolved around entertainment.
Right.
My videos are very basic. I don't have plugins and different, flying movement graphics and stuff. I'm still cutting my stuff on iMovie, and I just put it together because it's more docu-style. I'm putting together. I put some music in there, and for the beginnings and the openings, and I speak, but
spruce it up a bit.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I make it a little bit, but I mean, the fact is that I just want to show you the communication. I want to talk to you about the connection I'm having and what's going on. So that's what I do, and I mean, I would think I would get a little bit more viewers, but I'm grateful for who's following me.
I think that in this field that we're all in, that they appreciate more a docuseries than a television formula.
I hope so. I would think so.
I believe so.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah. I know
I
do. I know Michelle does. It's just a different experience, and you're learning from someone else when you're watching them work.
Yeah. I mean, I just I connect better with someone when they're just being real and raw with me. And that's how I am. I don't know anyone else to be. I wear my heart on my sleeve. If I'm kind of agitated, you can tell. If I'm not on, when I'm dialed in, you can tell. So it's like, I can't fake the funk, you know, if it's either
but
there or it's not.
That's good though, because being real is something that I think gets overlooked. You know, being in front of the camera a lot and being what I call the couch investigator. I am just like the worst couch investigator, because I'll just watch something on a show and I'm just like in the up in the parlor watching television, just ranting all by myself. It's like, oh, you should seriously do that. Yeah, it's utterly ridiculous. Like, it's just,
I feel bad when I do this, but that's the problem.
It's fudged.
And that's the problem. I'm sitting at home and I'm watching this channel ITC or this one Paranormal, and I'm watching and I'm like, all right, Josh, just shut up, just sit there and just watch the show.
I don't watch any of them. I'm even worse than that.
I hate it. I don't even want to.
It's like homework though.
But I mean, it is.
It is like homework.
I have to at least make the rounds once a week just to see what the heck is going on.
Yeah,
I don't want to, but I do it because I need to still stay abreast to what's happening in a way.
You do.
Yeah.
I'm
grateful for guests like you, because you can let me know what's going on, because I don't have the patience to watch it. It annoys me to see that kind of, especially for people who can't reach out for help and they're looking to see, can I do this at home, and watching this, and it's scary for me, you know.
The idea is trying to be as real as possible. I think if you can at least get one person, you can help one person, you know, do. Sorry. That's just kind of creepy. What was that? But, you know, help one person. I've always been complimented on my thank you for at least being able to explain it in layman's terms. You know, just trying just to be just as general as you can be. It doesn't have to be techie. It's bad enough you're working with a production. You know, like I always say, I do a lot of interview shows where it's like I give, you know, 5 really legitimate answers, and the last one they're just like, but it could be this. Well, I suppose it could be this. Yes, blah blah blah. Can you say that? Well, I can say it, but I just gave you 5 other reasons where it could happen too. Like psychokinesis is a big one too. You know, but what ends up on the cutting room floor? Demon, right?
Yeah, right.
It's a demon. I'm sure. I always say it. I'm sure the world thinks I run around screaming demon when I can. Where I'm probably one of the most logical people I know. But okay. But
it's very rare for people to come in, I mean, to have interaction. I believe my interpretation after 10 years of doing this is, or, you know, that it's very rare, but
I think you have to pick and choose who you work with and make sure that the production house that you're working with is credible. Yes. And has integrity. I think that's the most important thing.
I think honestly, that's not going to happen in TV unless.
Oh, it's happened for us. We've had some really good
experiences. Then
yeah,
that's great. I mean, I just don't. You know, I'm sure they're out there. You
just have to. So many seasons in, you have a good. You know, I have good relationships with my producers. I'm just like, no, we're not going to do that.
Yeah, that's the only reason why I had the great experience, because she was the one who put me there.
That makes sense. Yeah.
But people don't realize they can stand up for themselves and say, "No, I'm not going to do that." Much like what you did.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to do that.
I didn't get the show though. I didn't get the shows ever because of. I mean, I don't know if that was the ultimate reason,
but you have to. I've turned down my own show a few times. I'm like, that's stupid. I'm not doing it, and I wouldn't do a show called that either. You know,
just recently,
this show is called Ghost Sweepers. Not touching it.
What is it called? Ghost Sweepers?
Ghost Sweepers, you know, clearing houses.
Yeah, right. Gotcha.
Oh, no, good Lord. That's so kitschy.
Not happening.
It's very Niagara Falls, just saying.
Yeah.
But they're out there. Anyway, here's a question. Bubbles?
Yes, Dolly asks, where do you think things are progressing to here in regards to becoming more than proving others to teaching others everyone can do this?
Where do you think we're progressing in regards to becoming more than just proving? Okay. Well, I mean, the app that I created, I mean, is free. And, you know, you brought this up earlier, like it's making it more accessible to others. Right. That's a good thing and a bad thing in a way. So I try to educate. I do not try to say everyone should just download my app and start turning it on and asking questions. You really should have intent. You should have some feeling of protection. And I talk about that in my, you know, in the app. I talk about it in my videos and stuff. And you know, I'm going to keep doing my thing. And I hope that more and more I can continue to prove it in a way that it gets a little bit more attention, or continues to get more attention. And I'm willing to do whatever I do wherever, with whomever, in a sense of like, I don't have any real restrictions for the most part. I can show you my method. I can show you what I use. I can have someone sit there the whole time during the process and the review process. So I could try to make everything transparent. And then, excuse me. I think that, eventually people will start to understand that what I'm doing is way more than just, paranormal. We're really having serious interdimensional communication, and hopefully the app will do that. Will help. I mean, I'm working on stuff, or I'm discovering stuff that is so out of the realm of just normal paranormal. I mean, I had a friend call me, a couple months ago, and he was upset. I've known him, childhood friend, and he said, my mom just had a couple strokes, and I took her to the hospital, and they intubated her, and it was so sudden, and I'm just so distraught. Now, he didn't ask me to reach her or nothing, or do anything like, psychic or whatever. But I got off the phone with him, and I felt compelled for some reason intuitively to ask for her. She's still alive. I mean, she was in the hospital bed. And I turned on my box, and before I did, I psychically connected to her. She's only a couple miles down the road. Doesn't matter though, but still, but I had the connection to her. I knew her. She knew me. And I felt her. Like, I felt the presence of her in a bed. And then I turned on my box and I started asking questions. There's no way to prove that I'm reaching her. There's no way to 100% prove it, but she was responses were direct and clear. And it was, yes, I'm here. I asked her like an idiot. I said, how are you doing? And I said, are you okay? And she said, not today. And at the end of the session, she said, just put me in a bed in hospice, very clearly. And I talked to my friend, and I told him, and 2 days later, she was going into a bed in hospice. And I reached out to her after she passed, and she said, I'll be back soon. She goes, this place is great. She goes, so I truly feel I was able to communicate with her soul before it left the body, or before she, expired. A woman's cat was missing recently, a patron's cat of mine. And she said, can you ask your guides, or ask to see if we can, get anything on that? And I said, you know what? I'm going to turn on my app. I'm going to put on this sound bank, and I'm just going to ask. I'm going to ask for the cat. I know the cat is lost. We don't know if it's alive or dead or what. I'm just going to see what happens. And I said, hey, Bodhi, are you there? And the response came through sick. And I said, where are you? Can we find you? And it said, reached woods, very clearly. Wow. And I spoke to the woman the next day, and I said, are there woods around you? She said, she was right outside my house, right there.
Wow.
And I asked in the group session the next night, and a spirit said, Bodhi's coming back tomorrow. And the next day, Sunday, this cat walked back to that, never been outside. It was an indoor cat for 10 years, and it walked back to the house.
That's awesome.
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
But it goes to show you, like, essence is essence, whether it's inhabited by an animal, whether it's inhabited by a person. And I like the fact, and this is where I think people don't realize, you actually can communicate with an essence, whether a person is a dead or alive.
Mm-hmm.
I got to be honest, guys. I mean, I'm just kind of discovering that, through my own research, the woman that was in the coma, and now speaking to this cat that, I mean, again,
but there are animal communicators. So, it would make sense.
I know, but I had a medium come to my house. We were friends with a medium when I first started, and she said, I communicate with animals. And I said, okay. All right, and she connected with my cat that I mean, my cat was alive at the time, and he died a couple of years ago. And since then I've reached out to him, and I've picked up I just posted a video today about it. And, but at the time he was alive, and she's connecting to this cat, and she's saying, And the cat, he never slept on my bed. He never slept on the bed with me, and I always wanted him to. He never did. And
Right.
she connects with this cat, and she says, he's saying that he feels you're mad at him, that he did something wrong. And I'm like, oh my God, no. I said, I love him. No, he's my baby. He's my buddy. You know?
Wow.
And I said, you tell him that, you know? And she's like, no, he loves you. And he's like, oh, okay, thank you. I'm glad, I love you too. And like all this, it sounded ridiculous, but it was really moving.
No, it's not. It is moving.
That night, you know, she was gone and you know, it was whatever. And I'm in bed. And for the first time ever, the cat slept in the bed with me and continued to do so every night after. So whatever the heck was said, it was real, because the result was there. I don't have to believe maybe the words that she all said, but the result was something that's never happened before happened because of a change of
making or
an amends or whatever. Yeah. Somehow. Mending it. Yeah.
I've only dealt with an animal communicator one time and never said anything about my pets, and she just banged them all out of the ballpark. And that was remotely just through a photo. And after that, you know, we've had a couple on the show, and the last one that was on, we had somebody a chat say, my cat's gone, been gone for 4 hours, and made a complete communication. And found him. She contacted the cat. People in chat got involved. The cat showed up within half an hour.
Yeah, see, that's the same thing as what just happened
before the show ended. Yeah, cat was already home. Well, she had just moved, so she was really, 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 really afraid that he was lost for good, because she was just moving in that day. Yeah. And she was a former guest as well.
If people check my channel, you know, Hope Paranormal, you go to hopeparanormal.com and you can find my channel, but you know, youtube.com/Hope Paranormal White Light but you can find it all through my website. But you know, my latest video I just posted today is me reaching out. I was asking for my guides, and I said, hey, is any of my guides, anyone got a message? And this guide says, I'm here with that cat. And then the next response goes, because he keeps asking for you. And I'm like, okay, so later that night I ask again, and I said, is it Tigger? Are you talking about, you know, my cat Tigger? Right. And they said, yes, try and speak to him. Like they said it, and they said it a number of times. They said, he's always around you. And so later, like a couple days later, I used my app, and I put on a child voice, and just because I think that works well. I don't know why. And I, you know, you love me. I sleep with you.
Wow.
Oh, crazy.
You're being chastised.
He was like, he goes, what else did he say? I said, what's your soul doing? It's happy. I mean, it was just so direct, so clear.
Right. I know.
I don't know how it's working though. I don't know how.
Can I play devil's advocate here? Because I'll get these text messages on my phone while we're on the show, and I don't answer text messages while I'm on here. Devil's advocate, how do you know it was him and not something else mimicking him?
I don't know that. How would I know that?
Appreciate the honesty.
Yeah. I mean, who's going to say, I know, I just know it? No, I mean, I don't know it. Right. That's the thing. This is the thing. This is a beautiful thing, and this is a great litmus test. Okay. Mm-hmm. What is the point to sit here for 10 years and to tell me that you are these people and that we miss you and we love you and ask for God and pray to the, you know, there's angels around you and, you know, all these positive things. The only reason to deceive someone is to have some kind of malicious intent, some kind of ulterior motive. There's some kind of personal gain in it for the person that is deceiving and lying.
I'm not referring to you being deceiving. I'm referring to the spirit being deceptive.
Correct. Yeah. So for them, what would be the purpose of 10 years of telling me nothing but positive, you know, responses?
10 years for you.
It for you, but not for them. And you don't know who you're talking to when it's a client. Like you never know what they're bringing with them. That's what I mean. Like I'm asking from that point because we deal with a lot of malevolent energies. That's what we do. Yeah. So I'm just curious if you've ever experienced that.
I mean, I like I said, my experience has been this, and I've dealt with a lot of negative things, especially early on. but not in the last, I mean, the only thing I've dealt with negatively in the last like 7 years has been that past resident that I told you about. And that was that's a personalities problem. Like we have a personality problem.
Clashing.
But the fact is that, like I've said before, I rather get to the end, to the other side, and then say, ha ha, we got you. We were lying. That wasn't your cat. That wasn't Mrs. Jones. That wasn't this one. That wasn't that one. God wasn't really there for you. Let them say that then. I'd rather take the hit then than actually go through my whole life and act like, nope, they're all lying to me. I'm not going to talk to them. I'm not going to do this work because it's only going to be evil. It's only going to be negativity. And then get to the end and they're going to go, but we were there though. If you only just believed a little bit or believed in your own protection, that we could have talked. We could have told.
Yeah, mindset, faith, I think has a lot to do with it as well.
Think about the result that happened after that. So that's you asked a great, or whoever that was that sent the text asked a great question.
No. That was my question. Because
that was your
I know
question.
I'll get that text after.
Gotcha.
I know my friend, like I know what they'll be like. Well, how does he, how does he know?
Check this out.
Just because I do this work doesn't mean that everybody that surrounds me believes in what I do. So I was curious because I always like to ask people who are psychic that come on in their experience, what they've had and how they deal with it. Because I never used to open the door to anything dark either, but I didn't even realize that it was always there until after. So that's why I'm curious to see how other people's experiences have been.
This is what happened. So I did that session. I reached out asking for my cat, right? And I got these responses that were all positive. It was, I love you. I'm around you. My soul is happy. All positive stuff, right? After that session, and I heard those responses, I felt fantastic. I felt closer to my loved one. So, it made me think of Tigger, my cat. When I send a video of a session that I just did with someone's loved one, and it's, I'm right here, mom, or I'm right here, dad, or I'm right here, husband or wife, and I love you, and I see you need to get, like they'll say something funny. They'll say something that only they would know, or like a thing that they would do. The person's grief starts to wash away.
That's right.
They start to feel great. So
it's healing.
If there's someone on the other side and they're saying, you know what, I'm going to lie and I'm going to tell them that I'm their loved one to make them feel better. I don't want that to be the case, but I mean, why would they be doing that? I don't know.
Not someone, but something. Sometimes we don't know.
Okay. Well, if the something
that's what I mean by that.
If the something is doing that, though, but the thing is, if the something is doing that, then I mean, I'm not saying. I mean, there's negative things. We know we got more negative in the world than anything. And the fact is that if that's what's happening, the result is normally a positive one. So I mean, I have to look at that.
Yeah, I'm happy for you and for your everyone that you open up to and share with and. You've assisted that way. That is fantastic. There's a lot of psychics that have had nothing but positive experiences. And I think it's fantastic.
Some of them would, I've talked to and they're like, oh, I've never had anything. And I'm like, oh, that's great.
Yeah, I wish.
Yeah.
Do we want to get this next question?
Yep. Summer. Hi, Summer. Joshua, recently I asked to meet an ancestor, and in my dream, I met a lady covered in veil. She got really close to my face, and all she was an upper part of the skull. Any thoughts?
It's just how she came to you. Dreams are the easiest way for souls to visit us and communicate. It's pretty effortless for them. It's a great arena to be in for them to communicate and kind of a canvas to paint on. But the problem is that a lot of times those interactions happen and we don't. We wake up and we're not conscious of them anymore. So it's kind of like the forgetting the dream. But when you are, it's a lucid dream, and you are having it, and you're conscious of it. I mean, that's interesting. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I mean, when I see people on the other side, a lot of times they're showing me themselves in a very human way. Clothes and glasses. They're sitting down at tables. They're sitting in chairs. They're so I mean, it's a lot of that. Sometimes I'll see someone younger, a lot of times I see them when they die, like how they were when they died. It's just kind of how the loved one remembers them in their last state, unless it's like really messed up state or something, then no. But
everybody has their own language, I believe, and their own way of reading.
Can I just close my door, guys? I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I think my door. I'm sorry.
Absolutely.
That's okay. Okay, so getting into, Dolly basically says that, we're wondering what is coming through. She says you can know, and you can know here. And she agreed with your comment as well.
Yeah.
So there we go. Better. So here's a question for you. When you're working with ITC, do you ever communicate with extraterrestrials, or are they all spirits?
It's a very good question. Early on, I was doing, probably 7-8 years ago, I was doing water ITC, and I captured a photo of a baby. I captured a photo of a man. I captured a photo of something that looks exactly like an ET, big eyes, and and everything. And it was amazing. But then I started to notice some things outside in the sky, some lights moving and stopping. So I couldn't get them on camera, but I started to notice some things. I like looking at the sky. I have a telescope. I take pictures of the moon and Jupiter and all that. And so there were some things I noticed. Then as the Navy and the government started releasing things in the last year or so, more patrons, more people that were in my group sessions were asking their loved ones about it. So that was I started to see the uptick on that. And so it was like 3-4 people asking their loved ones if they've seen aliens, if they've had any interaction. And every one of them said, yes, they've seen them. Yes, they're real. And that one of them said they've been here many times, like during the sessions and during, so there's been some of that. I've never felt a malevolent feeling. I felt more of an observing feeling, more of a checking in. Maybe they thought, see, this is what's interesting. I don't, whether people like this Dr. Stephen Greer situation, the CE5 and all that, what I found interesting about all of that is that CE5 meditation that he takes you through, or that you're supposed to do, is very, very similar to what I have my patrons do prior to every session. It's the visualization of going to a place, sitting there, having the person come to you, even if it's, you're kind of priming the pump. You got to prime the pump a little bit with your own psychic ability, but then, and then the psychic part takes over. That's what the CE5 is. You're kind of sitting there, you're meditating, then you're supposed to go onto a ship and kind of ask them to come back with you. And then you're supposed to open your eyes and the ship's supposed to be there, in a sense, So I thought that's interesting, because that's how I communicate with the other side. So why wouldn't that be an evolved species or, interdimensional being? Wouldn't they be able to do the same thing?
Yeah, so I've done it as well, but it's nice to know that, people are willing to say, yes, it's happened to me too. And yes, it is a thing, and it's an okay thing, because a lot of people can't separate the two. It's like there's people who believe, like we always joke around with our producer, because we'll say, well, spirits, and he'll say dimensional bleed through. I'm like, okay, it could be.
Dimensional bleed through. What do you mean? He's saying there's not spirits. He's saying that he thinks it's aliens that are just dimensionally bleeding through.
No, there is a belief that we can live simultaneously. Dimensionally speaking, gotcha. That when we are actually communicating with someone, that we are communicating with maybe another version.
It's a nice notion. It's a nice notion, but the problem with that theory is that I've disproven it in almost every session I do, because
and tell me how.
Well, it's because they're talking about their lives. They're talking about things that happened in the past or things that they did while they were alive. It's
In
not
this
me
dimension
talking to
here.
me.
Yes.
They're talking about, they're saying we're in another dimension, but it's us. And we were in that dimension with you before. And,
right.
and now we're not there anymore. And I miss it, or I don't miss it. I get,
right.
Both things. So that's disproven I thought about how cool that would be in a way. Like, what if I'm just communicating? What if I'm a spirit to them? They got a spirit box and I'm coming through and I'm like a spirit.
You don't know. I've had spirits look at me and say, you're the one that's dead. I'd say, do you know you're dead? They're like, you're dead.
But I would understand.
Maybe I am. Maybe it is me.
But I would understand that because I've heard them say they have boxes and gear on the other side as well. I mean, that's just what they've said. They've said that they have physical items on the other side. And they've talked about them many times. And so they say, we have a box over here that's connected to your box in a way. So it's almost like a mirrored object on the other side. That's happened many times that they've talked about that. But I'm going to tell you something else really quickly. The deja vu thing is more about your bleed through. That's more about what that guy's talking about, your friend or whatever, because
our producer. Yeah.
Producer. Okay. So so my take, when I was talking to this medium early on, and I mean, I was grilling her. I mean, I would get into hours of grilling this poor woman. And I was just like, what's this? Well, what about this? And what about the pyramids? And what about this? And I would really, I mean, this woman gave me answers, and it doesn't mean that they're all right, but the answers were always very interesting.
Right.
And she said that she goes, she was channeling, and she was almost like in trance channeling. And she was saying that she had 7 of herselves in other worlds. So there's 7 versions of her. Right. There was 10 of me. And then there was like 10 of my partner.
Wow.
And they said that when you get a feeling of deja vu, that it's not because what's happening is dimensional bleed through, in the sense that you are getting a feeling of something that's happening to one of your other selves. And the only way for your brain to process it is to process it kind of like a memory, but you know that this never happened. So it feels like a memory, but it's not, because it never really happened. You were never here at this moment and doing this. It's a new place, or it's a new, whatever. So that was, I thought, very interesting.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So I think that might have truth to it.
That's interesting. Question.
Thank you. Tamara says, what happened that changed your path from partying to helping others?
All right. So
it's not forward at all, but
it's all in the book. So
we love Tamara. She's like a third host. Yeah.
I was not partying. I was a crackhead. I mean, I was a drug addict. I was in the gutter here. I mean, I was doing, I was drinking. I was an alcoholic. I was isolating. I was disconnected. I was in a hell of my own. And, there was a drug dealer that I ended up trying to rob, and the deal went bad, and I ended up shooting the drug dealer 6 times, and I was charged with attempted murder, and I was sent to prison. I was facing 20 years in life, or 20 to life, because there was another charge that happened with another drug dealer, and it was just all it's just coming to a culmination, and so they were trying to give me life, and decent lawyer enough just to get me. I got a 2.5 year prison sentence. And when I went in, it was like, the worst place. They moved me as far away from home as possible. It was, just a terrible, terrible place. And in there, I felt more so than any other time in all of my paranormal hunting, in all of the messages that I've ever felt, as far as, they came through, the devil's here and all this crazy stuff that I've heard before. I was in a cell at 3 a.m, no air conditioning, middle of Florida Everglades in the summer. I mean, 90 degrees in the cell at night. I mean, just dying. And I woke up with this splitting headache, like a migraine. And I felt the presence of something demonic. Oh. That was demonic. That felt demonic. Whatever the hell was there trying to attack me in some weird, psychic, crazy way, I felt it. And I had never felt more compelled to call out the name of Jesus Christ over and over again. And like a baby being rocked to sleep, The headache slowly went away. I felt the presence of negativity, the heaviness lift off me. I felt I felt a comforter, like it was like a comforter that came over me, and I went to sleep. And I was in many other situations in prison where physical beings were over me, ready to kick my ass. And I would say, listen, you know, you could clearly kick my ass, but I'm protected by the Lord. So if we have to do something, let's do it. But, you know, I'm not going to fear you, man. And they would get in my face, but then they'd walk away. It was like the craziest thing in the world. It was like a bodyguard of an angel stood in front of them, and their conscious being didn't know that, but their soul knew that there was something standing there protecting me. And that's the protection I felt. So that really, you know, when I got out, I had nothing, no job, no place to live. I had no money, but I had spirituality. I had a connection to a higher power that made me not want to spend one of those days that I was in prison in vain.
Right.
And if I went back to drugs, if I went back to jail, then all of that time I spent in there would have been for nothing. So I still live that way today, that I don't ever want that time to be, you know, and I make mistakes all the time, but not those same mistakes.
There's a second chance. And it sounds to me like you had a bit of an awakening, to say the least, you know, to change your path. Hold on. Okay, this is for you also from Dolly.
Dolly says, oh, wow, Florida Everglades alum ET hybrid fully conscious contactee. You were in the crossroads.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I was down.
Oh, he froze. He froze.
Come back. Hello.
He froze.
There you are.
There you are.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Tamara says, thank you for sharing that.
Yes.
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 Yeah.
Dolly is on next week, and she is a fully conscious ET hybrid.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, wow. That must be. I have to tune into that one. That's interesting.
She'll be on with her bestie Preston Dennett, and there's a book that's been written about her life and experience called Symmetry.
Wow.
He wrote it.
So. Yeah, definitely, you know, totally connected to the consciousness. So when I take that very seriously when she says consciousness, yes, she's basically is made privy to a few things.
Wow.
So, yes.
Holy cow.
Yes.
I'll have to check on that more later, because I'm interested. That's interesting.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. She's very forthcoming about it. And if we have questions, she'll tell you how to contact her. So basically then, with all of this research that you've done, is there any specific thing that stands out the most? Like, is there any sort of evidence that really sticks out to you to say, you know what, this is the one that, you know, made me keep going, or this is the one that made me question it, or...
It's been really it's been the evidence that I've captured with my connection with Christ that is really, I feel I'm in communication with with him. Okay. I feel that connection with him. I don't go around going, I channel Christ. I'm not doing that. It's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying I trust my own ability, or sometimes I doubt it. But I mean, for the most part, I know that I've received a lot of wonderful validation. I feel from him. I've received pictures that, I was doing one of my first sessions at the cemetery, and you could see this cross appear in the clouds right above my recorder as I brought up Jesus's name. I'm mentioning his name, and this cross appears in the sky.
Very nice.
Right above me.
Yeah.
I was given a channel design from Spirit, and it's called the Life Piece, and I share about it in my book, and I share about it in I talk about it. This design came and it has this wonderful spiritual meaning to it, and you're supposed to, hold it. And it came from the other side. I searched, I scoured the web, I scoured records. I could never find anything that was, previous to this. And one day I was giving a reading to someone, and I took a picture, and it's probably not going to show right. It's going to be terrible.
No, I see it.
Yeah, but there's this face, and it looked like Christ's face. His eye showed up. Like, it's just this amazing.
That's crazy. Yeah.
But right in the corner, in the clouds, Okay,
down.
hold on.
Down.
I'll get
Come
it.
down.
I'll
Go
get
back
it.
down.
Holy cow!
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just the link. I do
I'm
that to Michelle
reversed.
with my cell phone all
Yeah.
the time. I'm like, what do you
Okay.
mean you can't see it?
Anyway, in that
It's
picture,
just a
though,
glare. Yeah.
I see it.
in that picture, the
Yes.
design of the life piece, I can't do it. I'm
I see it. I
Anyway.
saw it. I did.
It's in the book. It's in the book.
It's okay. If they're watching, they can rewind and pause it there and they'll be able to see it.
There we go. Yes.
But anyway, so there was some of these real undeniable experiences and they continue to be. I will say that, I bring her up all the time because of how powerful it was. And it was when Gabby Petito was missing, and they asked us, I was requested a lot to try to see if I can get any information before she was found. And so right before she was found, I was tuning in and I got all this accurate information psychically. And I asked my guides and they said she's dead. And they said all this amazing stuff. And every time I would do a session or ask about her, I would pick up specific, detailed information that was correct, but was not released by authorities yet. No one knew anything yet. So it was a wonderful validation in a terrible situation, but it was a lot of proof that was coming through. And so there were some more cases like that, some more sessions that I would do. The stuff was coming through and it was undeniable. And it was just some of the most, and it was helping so many people that were finding this work for the first time going, there's no way, he can't make it up. He can't fake this. I mean, how was he able to get this information before anything was released? So that was a really, powerful thing for me and for the people that were kind of watching it as it was unfolding with me.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. That's, there's always, I think, that one piece of, I guess, what we would deem as close to evidence as can be, that does it. Every researcher, everyone involved will always have that one thing, whether it's a voice recording, whether it's an image, and it's either strong enough to make you back off because you fear it, or it's strong enough to make you forge ahead.
Oh yeah.
Because it's just such a life-changing, monumental piece.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's happened now a number of times where I'm blessed. I have to ask them like, why is, and it's been amazing pieces of evidence, photographs. I have one of the coolest pieces of evidence I've ever captured, visual pieces. And it's, I've got all these orbs. I've got all this footage of orbs just coming in and stopping and then going and changing directions and then moving into my body and head and shooting up out of me and all this great stuff.
Yeah.
And then I had this beautiful orb that it was moving along and it went through my bookshelf. So it went into the bookshelf and it was gone, and then it comes out the wall. And it was the first time that I ever captured something like that moving through an inanimate object. And as it came out the other side, it was like a little splash of light came off of it. It's one of the it's one of the greatest things ever. It's on my YouTube or on my TikTok. I have I put all my clips up there.
Because orbs are very controversial, with research.
Sure.
But just, dust, pollen, pet dander, moisture. People are very.
Can I share something with you?
Yes.
Well,
please.
I'm saying, okay, so if I hit share, hold on, let me see.
Share on our screen.
I can't do that.
Come up.
It won't come up. Okay.
Well, you can try, but you'd have to mirror it to.
To what?
You'd have to mirror it to your computer, to whichever one you can go. I don't know if you could technically do it.
Oh, okay. If I hit share, sometimes I could, if you allowed me to, I was just going to show you.
Yeah. Feel free if you can do it. No one's ever asked.
Oh, really? Is this a first?
Go ahead. Give it a whirl.
All right. Let me just see. I'm looking.
2 years we've never done.
Really? Oh,
this would be great because I could get the guests to do their own PDF, show their own stuff.
Okay. Hold on.
Make our job a bit easier.
I have, let me see if it will work. Great. If not, then I'm, no big deal, but it's right here. So let me just see. Spirit moves through the bookshelf. Here it is.
There it is.
All right, hold on. Okay. So let's try this. So if I go to share screen.
I like this.
Don't show. Okay. Share screen. Yep. There it is. Hold on.
Okay.
Window. Chrome tab. Oh, wait, hold on. Window. Oh yeah. Chrome tab.
Yeah, you're on Chrome.
Okay, go there. Yep, there it is. Okay.
Ooh,
All right, you see that? Okay, now
so
watch
I've got to
this.
bring you up. I've got to accept it. Add
Okay.
to the stream. All right.
There we go. We
Okay,
don't
now
have
watch
to do
this.
you don't have
Okay.
to do the PowerPoint presentations for them anymore.
Check this out. Here we go. This is really cool.
Okay.
This is really awesome. This is a piece of visual evidence. And I've been showing you the orbs that have been moving in and out of my body. They fly around. It's not dust. It's not bugs. It's not water vapor, whatever else. It is real light orbs. They come and enter my body before using the box. And then after I've asked them questions, they leave my body. So they're using me. And it's about the connection. We have to grow our connection in order for these apps and boxes and things to work. You can see this ball of light near my cabinet, near my bookshelf, and you could see it, and it goes right through something physical. It goes right through the shelf. It goes right through the wall of the cabinet, and it's unmistakable. Dust doesn't do that. Bugs don't go through physical objects. Look how great this is.
Yep.
This is.
No,
I mean,
that's beautiful.
I mean, it's pretty definitive. I mean, I don't know. I mean, you can see them, and I have a lot more of that. You know, I have a lot more footage of that. And in my master class, I was teaching the students. I taught the students how to do all this: work on the app, work with the night vision camera, work with water ITC. We did it all. And I showed them. I said, take, your night vision camera. That I told them which one to buy. It was a $30 Google YIE camera, whatever, and you can get them very cheap. Right. And I said, set it up and then start meditating and praying and asking for your higher power, like start focusing and grounding. See what moves around you. You'll see some amazing things. And then I said, then go take a pillow and a blanket and go stand in front of it and shake it out and see what happens then. If you're turning on the flash on your phone in a room that you just walked in and you just sat on the bed, you're going to have things flying all around you. That's not orbs. That's dust. That's dust mites and dust particles.
Oh, you still see it, and in night vision, like people have sent me things, and they're camping. It's like, oh my God, look at this
the fire.
Pollen. They don't think of pollen at night, though. I can understand why they make that error.
They're pretty relieved
you don't think about it at night.
You're not under attack. It's okay.
Yeah.
No,
it's scary if you don't understand it. It is scary, especially when you're relying on television.
Yeah,
to tell you the truth, that's a problem.
That's the worst. That definitely sucks. Yeah,
but that was a beautiful, beautiful image. The way it does go right through. I would think, that's definitive.
I think so. I mean, there's a lot more. Like I said, I have a lot more footage.
Okay, we're going to do a quick station ID
okay.
and sponsor ID, and then Amelia will read off the question and we'll get this for you.
Absolutely. You are listening to The Outer Realm with Michelle DeRoche and Amelia Pisano, coming to you live from the beautiful city of New Orleans on 105.3 FM radio. Tonight we have Joshua Lewis with us. Stream or listen to our archives on the platform you normally use, and check back. Go into the archives if you're listening right now and give us a like if you're on YouTube. Don't forget about us. Shout out and thank you to the amazing people at Folgers Coffee for fully sponsoring our show from day one. We love you and we thank you so much. And a huge thank you to the voice and the music. Behind our intro and outro is Dr. Snick, the sonic surgeon, Justin Snicker, award-winning composer and musician. You can find him on Amazon and Bandcamp, and you can follow him on Facebook and Instagram. Check him out.
So you guys are in New Orleans, huh? I was. Is that where you guys are? No, you're in Canada. But
we're in Canada, but we're live in New Orleans.
Because I'm going to be in New Orleans as my second live event. My first live event was in August of last year in St. Augustine. It's a 3-day event, the H.O.P.E Afterlife experience, and then exactly 1 year later, this August 26th. I'll be in New Orleans, but I'll be in New Orleans this time, and I'll be at the Hilton, the old Masonic temple, and then I'll be taking people into the
very cool,
the haunted hotel, and all kinds of cool stuff. That's great.
Nice. We love New Orleans.
Oh, you'll love it. New Orleans is fun filled.
Yeah.
I'll catch Shady D. Have you experienced an orb making a knocking sound when it goes through a more solid object?
No, I did actually have a sound when we were doing a session early on years ago, and I was doing it in my garage, and there was this bang on the garage door, and I said, "What the heck was that?" It was very weird, and I asked through the box, and they said, "Sorry, I was coming in hot." And I thought that was one of the funniest things ever. And like, it was like he claimed that was the sound from him coming in.
That is
coming in hot.
hilarious.
That's something that you use on radio. Coming in hot.
it.
My
Yeah.
mic is coming in hot. I
Right,
wonder
right.
if he was ever in broadcasting or anything like that.
I don't know. That's a saying that we, as just guys in Florida, like, I'm coming in hot.
Oh,
I love
okay.
it.
Just
It's
kind of
true.
like, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It's kind of like a Top Gun kind of thing,
I know. I
That's
love
funny.
it. I love
Yeah.
it.
Summer, Amelia, Michelle, Q&A in the next month. Michelle has to answer that one. I don't have my calendar.
I know. We could be doing them all the time, but August 3rd, Summer, is the next one.
Yeah, so next month. Yep.
We bump ourselves to make sure our guests get good spots, and eventually we get back here. So
Yeah.
otherwise, we're booking into November now. So we have to give up our spots. Otherwise, it's like
Michelle's holding back. We used to be booked a year in advance. It was
yeah,
insane.
I know. I have a
Wow.
long list of people, a lot of emails to get back to. I keep saying it's a wait, man, but it's worth it. You have millions of listeners if you want to hang in there.
I've been
Yeah.
booked. I got a lot of interviews lined up for the future. I'm excited. It's been really cool. I've been able to. I love coming on and just talking about it. So that's very cool.
Yeah, it's great because you're
Oh, it
creating
is.
awareness and you're going to reach out to so many people that need you. So it's really good.
Oh,
Yeah, thanks.
exactly. I think
Thank
it's
you.
wonderful. I think it's wonderful.
Thank you.
It's refreshing though to see somebody who's got a really, you have a very laid back opinion. It's like, yeah, I don't know. But how am I going to know if I don't just keep at it? I
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Some people get very, no, this is exactly what it is. Other people are just like, or
Well,
they lean the other way. It's,
I mean, what I noticed is that when I first started, I knew a lot more. Okay, so
I like
that's a little okay, because that's what happens is that when we first start, I think that we think we know a lot, and
Right.
the older I get, the less I know, and that's really the reality of the situation. And so, it's like like that line. What is it? The Red Hot Chili Peppers. The more I see, the less I know. The more I'd like to let it go, and
Right.
that's really like my credo, man. Like that's like I mean, I'm trying to continue to let go of the physical in a way
Right.
that I still want to live here. I love my children. I love my life. I'm not trying to go to the other side yet. Like I'm not trying to die. I
Right.
love being alive, but I
Yeah.
also want to keep working on detachment. Attachment is the
It's
root of
really,
suffering.
it is. It's really hard because we look at it. Took my middle child to say to me, your children, like, we're just attachments. I'm like, shut up. No, you're not. I love you. Not a damn attachment. And then, I had, he had a child, and I remember looking at the child going, oh, look, honey, I have a new little attachment to love. And he just scowled at me, went, right, stop it. Now you're a parent, you understand.
Yeah.
But I get what he was saying.
Sure.
We were filming here over the weekend, and I had a piece that got knocked over and fell. And it was a large antique piece that went over, almost took out the newel post on the thing. And
Wow.
and I was sort of like, I didn't know how to react at first, but it was just like, are you okay? And he goes, I'm okay. And everybody was in a panic. And then I just found myself saying, it's a thing. People are more important.
It's a beautiful thing to say, that to come to that realization, which doesn't happen by just saying, oh, it's just a thing.
It's true. And I find myself doing it more often. I found, because I have really exquisite pieces that come from all over the world, really old, somehow though, not so much because they're things, but they make me feel somehow connected to a life that I've had.
Sure.
That I just feel like
I've got tchotchkes and knickknacks all over and they all
that
mean
give you
something.
a little, yes.
But the problem, but it's not the problem. It's not a problem, but it's the
Well, it can
idea.
be.
Well, it can be.
Expensive
It could
one.
be hoarding. It could be, right. You could be spending money on it, right? But the
Yeah.
thing I think is that No one wants to think of their own mortality or the fact that they were going to leave this realm, and it could be tomorrow, or it could be, in 30, 40, 50 years, who knows?
Right.
But the fact is that what would happen to all of those things if you reach the other side? You hope that some of your loved ones get them, and that, maybe they're used as a reminder, a remembrance of you, but they're going to be sold off. Some of them are not going to be, the sentimental value to some of these things are not going to be perceived by your children or by some of these other, they're going to sell.
They're all total
right.
IKEA style. And I'm just
yeah. So, I mean,
it might change. It might change. They're really young still.
But the point I'm making is that we can't take this stuff with us.
No.
And, and I hear guys like, I love Howard Stern. I listen to Howard Stern all the time. I just love the guy. And, but I hear, and I respect a lot of his opinions on stuff and things. But he talks about, what I do, the kind of work that I do. He talks about how it's bullshit. It's a joke, it's all this. And, and I go, but I hear him talk about how he's afraid of death. And he was on the phone with Arnold Schwarzenegger one day, and they were both talking about, and he's like, Arnold, aren't you afraid of death? He's like, oh, I'm so afraid of death. I don't know. I love all of my stuff. And, and he's talking about, and these older guys are like, they don't want to leave this realm because they have built it up to what they feel they've got. They've got these riches. They've got it by the,
which measures success to some of them.
It's a measure of success. So then all of a sudden now, if they get to that other side, what's their value going to be at that point? And so that's a problem. If you you get so attached to that,
Depends how much charity they've done too. Some people give a huge chunk of what their success is to charity. We just don't know about it.
Well, that doesn't mean that I'm not saying that they're not going to get into heaven.
No. I know what you're saying. I understand your point.
If you go back to Egyptian times when you had to go in, to cross, pharaohs would have all
they'd have all their stuff
and
with
then
them.
You would have a scale, and you had to measure your wealth with the heart and that of a feather, and you would have to come in with a precious item to pay for that. And realistically, the heart, it would be a matter of, you had to balance with that feather.
Wow.
And that all came and had to do with attachment and things. And it's a really hard pill to swallow. It really is. It's hard to let it go.
That's the whole thing. Letting go is everything.
But it gets easier.
Yeah.
It gets easier. For me, it's just like, okay, I got rid of a lot. For me, it says you purge, and you just find yourself like, it's really no big deal. And Tamara made a good point here. Amelia, if you want to get that one.
Yeah. Tamara says the more you open up, the more you open up, you start letting go of materialistic things.
Yeah, I agree with
that. Sorry, I was reading Shady's comment at the same time.
Because you realize that, the more that you open up and you realize, the divinity that, that you are the connection that you have, that this is not everything. And you start going, I would, I was only an entrepreneur. I only cared about making money. I wanted to be a businessman. Today I make, a fraction, barely a fraction. Thank God I have my stuff kind of set up, my house and everything. I'm kind of in a good spot, but, I can't imagine spending my days trying to make that next buck and trying to come up in a way that, on stocks and just being consumed into business. I have to make a living. I have a family to support, but I love the spiritual aspect of it.
It's very better stressful that you're there for your children than to be out in the business world. Trust me, I know people who are very successful and miss the entire upbringing of their children.
I feel like I miss my kids. I work from home and I feel like I miss stuff with my kids. So
that's what happens with me. My daughter lives with us, and she's turning 25, but she's still here. And there's times where I feel like I haven't seen her and I'm here.
Right.
But both of us work from home. So she's in her office, I'm in mine. And it's like text, are you good? Are you awake? It's terrible.
Yeah, and it doesn't, the more you make, because I've been there, I used to own an oil company. The more you make, the more stress you have.
Oh, absolutely.
And the more money it takes to live.
Oh, the problems are bigger.
They're much bigger, and it doesn't buy you.
They're bigger in private school too. If you guys are out there listening, just saying.
It doesn't buy you happiness at all. It just buys you more headaches, you know?
It's very true. There's this, I'm not going to go into that, but there's this, I was just thinking of like, you know, I love baseball. And there's this baseball player really that was like, you know, he chose the bigger contract over the team that he's been playing for the last 10 years. And his agent urged him to do it. And, you know, and it's significantly more money and he's unhappy. You can tell he came back home to play this other, you know, his old team, and he was crying and he was missing. And he found out that, you know, an offer came in that was, you know, not as high as this newer one. And he's like, I would have taken that, because he realized that more money doesn't mean you're going to be happy. You know, you have to really carve out, you have to kind of figure out what's important to you.
You have to be happy with yourself before you can be happy with anything. It doesn't matter whether it's materialist or spiritualist. You have to be inside happy and healthy.
That's right.
Yeah.
There's a cost for everything.
It doesn't matter. And some people can be successful because that's their path, to employ other people and give them a better life. So there's balance on everything. And that's what life is. We strive every day to achieve balance.
Balance is everything. I say
absolutely.
It every day. I'm striving, going, it's balance. It's balance, about balance. Don't forget it's about balance, Josh. It's about balance.
It's the hardest thing to achieve.
The whole life is achieving that balance. But the thing is this, I want to add on to what you were saying, because the thing is that you have to be happy with yourself. But the fact is that there's so many people that are not. And even me, at times, I'm not happy with myself because
it's normal.
And I would say to that is that you don't have to be completely there and arrived yet to still be on, like, as long as you are making a concerted effort to really stay on that path and say, okay, I don't feel I'm right where I want to be yet. I don't feel like I feel as happy with myself yet, and my accomplishments, or who I am yet, but I'm going to keep going. And I'm going to try to be gentle with myself. If I make mistakes, I'm going to try, you know, to mean what I say and say what I mean, and really try to, you know, follow through and keep my side of the street clean. You know, there's this amazing quote from my
Tamara, we will get to you, I promise.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
No, don't apologize.
We've got time.
You finish. You've got a lot of time.
There's this amazing quote from my guru, Paramahansa Yogananda. And he talks about, I'm just trying to find it real quick. Here it is, I think. Is this it? The quote is, it's about doing the work now. And so people think that, you know, death is the great escape. And I think this is really important. And if there's anything that people can get from, you know, well, one, I always want people to get from my work that, you know, there is a higher power and that we can connect with that higher power. But this is from Yogananda. It's a quote from him. And he says, don't depend on death to liberate you from your imperfections. You are exactly the same after death as you were before. Nothing changes. You only give up the body. If you are a thief or a liar or a cheater before death, you don't become an angel merely by dying. If such were possible, then let us all go and jump in the ocean now and become angels at once. Whatever you have made of yourself thus far, so will you be hereafter. And when you reincarnate, you will bring that same nature with you. He says, to change, you have to make the effort. This world is the place to do it. And I think that that's a very strong, powerful statement, that people think that they're going to do whatever they want, or they can just work.
Laws of karma say differently.
Exactly.
I'm going to read Tamara's. I do agree with Tamara, but sometimes rich people have amazing compassion and connections and do really good with that too.
Not all rich people.
I want to say.
No, it is true. Not all rich people are not able to pass through the needle of the eye, or the eye of the needle. The fact is that some have hit that bottom, have hit that spiritual, emotional bottom, and then they let go of the riches, and the riches came to them effortlessly, and they still were able to put that in perspective and say, I'm not my money.
I agree. They're usually the ones that came from nothing and have developed something that feed back the neighborhoods and the food banks. And because I do see that, and I just want to say that, like, a spiritual person can have wealth and do good with that.
Yeah,
It
absolutely.
doesn't mean they're not spiritual because they're wealthy, although I know that's the example we're seeing.
But I
But
do agree with her statement as
Paul
well.
Newman.
yeah, that I'm going to read right now. She says, riches are not about money. There are other types of riches: kindness, compassion, sharing, celebrating other people's achievement. Ego needs to be subdued. I agree.
Ego, especially that one.
Well, ego's
Yep.
in everything, in every part of life. Again, that's balance, your balance of chi, your balance of yin and yang. That's hard.
The actor
know.
the actor Paul Newman, he was, such a great actor, and he used to live in the town that I was from up north in Connecticut, and he had a little office next to my dad's, and huge actor. I mean, right? It's Paul Newman, Butch and Sundance, and all these great movies, and he started Newman's Own. I mean, he's got the dressing and all of these, and 100% of the proceeds would go to the Hole in the Wall gang and different helping out all charities. He drove around in a beat up car. He had a beat up jacket worth millions, but he gave and he knew what to do. And that's those are the examples. Those are the people.
John Bon Jovi too opened up a bunch of soup kitchens all over the New Jersey because he knew there was a need for it, and he pours all kinds of money from his royalties and everything into there. Yeah.
Philanthropist.
Yeah. The more Tamara says, the more you can.
We did this one. I wanted the question. Sorry.
It's okay.
Here we go.
It's okay. What was the most interesting thing you have discovered in your work?
Oh, I mean, that God is real. I mean, that we're powerful spiritual beings, and we don't realize it, that we're just in a meat sack, and we don't understand it. I mean, I've worked with telekinesis. I've moved things with my energy. I've done remote viewing. I've done astral projection, successful experiments while doing these things. I've discovered that our loved ones, are on the other side, and they're sharing, positive messages, and so I mean, it's just so much. It's so much. It's hard to kind of put into one thing.
Here's a comment from Dolly.
Dolly says,
"More wisdom."
Yes, essence is things. They hold vibration when we leave. The love goes with us, including the vibrations of life, memory, and wisdom.
Well said, my darling friend. Sherry has a question.
Sherry Berry. Hello, Sherry. Joshua, do you have a sense or remember your past lives? Sherry's extremely gifted.
In what? In psychic ability?
Oh, yeah.
She's gifted. Yeah, she's extremely gifted. So. We've had her on as well.
That's cool. She's asking a very interesting question. I'll say this. About 4 years ago, I was, from transcendental meditation, I started practicing Kriya. I was initiated into practicing Kriya Yoga, which is from Paramahansa Yoga onto the lineage of the gurus, Babaji, and all of the amazing gurus. And during one of my meditations, I was brought back to Jerusalem. And I was walking in the streets, the cobble streets. I saw the sea. I saw, I was talking to people. I was seeing things, and I was getting a sense that this was me, that I was a younger guy. And I went through this kind of I was taken to these different places all over there at that time. And then I was watching the crucifixion. And while I was there amongst the crowd in this vision, in this whole thing, I was crying so profuse. I was just losing it. And in physical, in the vision and in physical, I was crying. And I felt, for the first time, that I was watching someone that I knew, someone that I had known, someone that I had become close to physically, as far as a friend, someone that I'd come in contact with, that I was watching my friend being killed. And so I was told some things about that, and I haven't written about it. I haven't really shared about it. It's an honest question, and I'll answer it honestly. So I would say that I can't say definitively, but I would say that there might be something about me being back at that time. That's it. That's all I can tell you about that. So, and there's more to it, but I'm just still not ready to
No, of course.
talk about it.
That's a journey in itself.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, absolutely. Past lives are complicated.
Yeah.
But I think that in a way, some people will tell you there's no place, don't go back, there's no point. But I really feel that it has its place because it helps to mold you
I think
a
so.
little bit, right?
I would say so, because if I
life.
wasn't shown that,
Yeah.
that was shown to me at a time when I kind of needed it, or I don't know. I was
Right.
feeling kind of down on some things. And so that was shown to me. And that really kind of like went, wait a minute. There's no way to prove that. I don't know if I'll be able to do work to prove that. But if that is the case, then that would make sense why I feel such a strong connection to him, why this shape came out. And I would love to talk more about that, but not now. It would take me too long. But there's a lot of things that came out.
20 minutes, if you wanted to.
Okay.
Just saying, but when you're done, finish saying what you were
saying.
saying.
No, but I was saying that it felt like I was coming back not only to work on some of my own crap, but to help carry out some kind of mission, some kind of purpose. And of course, wouldn't that make my life so meaningful if I had a purpose? Maybe, but the fact was that I didn't want to add that because I needed meaning to my life. I was already happy doing this work. I was already happy loving it. This was shown to me in a way that it was like, this is kind of why you're doing this work. And
unfinished business.
There's unfinished business here.
Yeah.
So the story came out. I was talking to the medium, Connie, who I started working with early on. And she's the one that was telling me that, at first she was communicating with an angel named Jay. And after a couple months of working with her, she finally got enough guts to say, the angel, I believe, Jay, is really Jesus. I believe that, she said. And I went, oh, okay. I had a lot of problems with that when she said that to me, but I kind of went with it. And I grilled him. And one day, grilling God or grilling Jesus, whatever you want to say. And I sat down with her and I said, I want to talk to him. I want to ask him some questions. And I said, okay. I said, is he there? Can I, and she said, yeah, she asks, go, whatever. And I said, okay. And I said, so you were a craftsman, you were a carpenter, you made things when you were alive, the man Jesus, And he said, yes, I made this. I did the yoke for the back of the oxen, and we did tables and chairs, and I did this and that. And I said, he goes, I made spiritual keepsakes for people. I made these little keepsakes, and I would give to people. And I said, I went to Sunday school. I'd never heard of any keepsake that you ever made for anyone. I've never heard that. And I said, could you show me what it was? And the woman, Connie, was like, she's like, I'll try. I mean, if he shows me it. And I got her a pen and paper, and in a very weird way, she drew this circle and she drew this design on paper, and has this little hole. It's like a dot in the middle. I'm all reversed here. So the dot in the middle, and then there's these lines that run away from it, and then they run to these holes on the side, and it's this really amazing shapes. Anyway, I was like, what does this mean? And she draws it, and I'm thinking to myself, maybe this woman kind of has been sitting on this design in her head. I mean, I've never seen this or heard this, and this is kind of weird. And she's like acting blown away, and I don't know if it's an act on her end or what's going on, but all of a sudden she starts writing words, and the dot in the middle represents God, source. The lines that run away from him are fear. And they run to these 14 outer points. These 14 outer points are our outer qualities: insecurity, fear, lust, jealousy, anger, malice, and it goes on. There's 14 of them. And she writes these words down. And then she says, these 14 intersections, these triangles that point back to God, are our inner qualities: love, tolerance, compassion, joy, bliss. And they point us back to God. Now, there's a reason also. Now, as it's a 2D design when looking at it straight on. You can see normally it's kind of flat, and so I've done it on paper. But when it takes on a 3D form, it's a movement of descending and then reascending and then ascending again, ascension. So it's that we fall down. And so this line that runs us around, these lines, is the ring of fear. We can go round and round in the ring of fear until we remember those inner qualities. that will bring us back up to the source. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. This is mind blowing. And he's like, and he said that someone that was very close to him worked on it with him, worked on the design. And I said, oh man, I said, well, I immediately ran home and I went into my garage and I found a piece of wood and I immediately carved it out. I needed to hold it in my hand, physical piece. And I felt it. I felt the power in it, and then I ordered olive wood from the Holy Land, pruned from trees that were 2,000 years old. And I carved this out of that. And I started making them as gifts for people. And I started searching and I found out that there was a 14-point star that marks the place where they believed Jesus was born. And there was all these other significance to this design, but there was never this actual design or any kind of anywhere. And so I started to, work on it. And anyway, the design is amazing. And I made them for gifts. I gave them out and I made a website for it. And I give them out as free. And I even had them printed on wooden nickels to give out as people for free if I see them and stuff. So during that meditation, years later, 8 years later now, pretty much, and I'm doing that meditation and I'm walking around Jerusalem at the time, and I'm walking around where, Jesus was at this time. And then he shows me that I had something to do with this design with him. Okay. So that's it. I mean, that's it. That's a very heavy story. And I don't know how people would accept that. And if that's something, and I don't blame people if they didn't accept that.
But it doesn't matter.
I know it doesn't matter.
This message is personal. It's for you. It's not necessarily for anybody else. But if you needed the validation, if you considered past life regression, hypnosis, something like that.
I've thought about it. I've been so busy with my own work that I just, I keep doing it, but I would love to try it. I'd love to see what would come up, You
need time to heal too. You can't just go into it. You need that time off after the past life regression and then go into a talk, an event. It would be really hard.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, because you don't know what's going to come up, right? You don't know what turmoil is going to come out of that or whatever it is. I would wait till you have like a month or two to be able to absorb it and work on it and heal. Yeah.
What if you start grieving again? That's a perfect point that Amelia makes, because if you're reliving it in that moment, it's almost like, I think there's a reason we're not allowed to physically remember. Can you imagine how many losses we'll have suffered? How many people maybe that didn't come back with us this time around, or that we're not aware of coming back?
Just that moment, just that meditation of being at, the Skull Rock or wherever, where Christ was, crucified, the feeling was like nothing I've ever experienced. I was in mourning like the rest of the day. I mean, so that was a mini past life regression in a sense. I was in a theta state. I was in meditation and I was brought somewhere and I was literally transported back to this. I felt the cobblestone under the feet. I felt sitting there in these little, these little houses and stuff. It was an amazing experience, but it was extremely emotional, very draining, a lot of crying.
It's going to be even 100-fold on that. If you go through a regression, it's something that you shouldn't do unless you, like I said, you have that time to work through it, because it's going to be spiritual work for you to go through it.
Well, I mean, I guess I'll just trust that if I'm meant to do it, then I'll do it,
Exactly. If it's meant to come to you, you were shown the vision for a reason. I believe in that 1,000,000 times over. Like, I don't even question. It doesn't mean that. I always say, when people say, well, so you thought you were there. And I'm like, no, it's not that I felt it, but I know that there's a message in this vision and I need to understand it. There's a reason for everything. There's a reason why you're shown something. It could be for you, or it could be for someone you love that was there and you need to help them through it. But like we're saying, spiritual past life regression is work, and it can be painful.
Wow.
So
I didn't know
it's
that.
not something you want to do when you're out trying to help other people at the same time. Something that you want to do when you have the time to work on it. Yeah.
Sure. You want to relish in it a little bit too. I mean, I've had experiences. I've been to parts of the world where I know I've had lives, and it's very emotional.
Wow.
It is.
And you get visitations, and I've communicated with some of my past life beings, like much through communication devices like yourself. And you do go through a major sense of mourning. You know,
it's hard.
I mean, that makes a lot of sense, because that was a very powerful experience. I never forget it. You know, there's those things in meditation you get only a handful of times. And, you know, I meditate every day, and I don't get those things kind of, you know, that's very rare. But when it happens, it's very powerful. So that's very interesting.
Absolutely. You know what? Maybe try this when you can. I watched Passion of the Christ and I couldn't get through it.
Oh, I did. I actually watched it with Connie. I told Connie, I said,
okay,
you bring Jesus with you, and we sit there and we're going to watch the Passion together.
Dang it. Wow.
Yeah, and all we did was cry, but I felt majorly moved. Like it was heavy.
Yeah, it was an incredible film.
It wasn't the same exactly how I felt when I was meditating in my lotus position. And that day was he did something that day for me. I mean, that was a very powerful moment that I haven't even been able to touch on yet. this is the first time I'm actually really publicly talking about it. So.
I can't get through the film because I have visions and flashes of memories of being there. So I can't get through the film at all for nothing, like nothing. If it's on, I have high anxiety. If I hear it, I have anxiety. Aramaic bothers me.
I know.
There's a lot of different kinds of triggers for me.
Sure.
Tamara says most natural regressions during meditation is to help you grow and move forward in life.
Well,
absolutely.
That's exactly what that did. That's what that did. I was in a point where I wasn't bad. I was just kind of feeling not so, you know, I don't want to say not so important. Because I needed to feel important, but it was more of like, I just wasn't feeling like, you know, as inspired, and something happened, you know, I don't know. He really wanted to show that to me, whether it was just hey, I'm going to show you this because I want you to know how close you are to me. Or
I think it's a validation.
It was a validation.
Because you suspected it, and I think he was just giving it to you. I think it's great. They definitely, you know, can come back, and they can do that for you. You know, I woke up out of a dream crying because I had a complete visitation of someone from my past life who I loved dearly. And it was right there, and it was just all, and it was validated in a spirit communication that came by that like maybe a few months later. And you brought that forward. I was like, oh my gosh, I knew it. It was
that's like, and then when you get another piece that kind of validates it, that's really cool.
It's like puzzle pieces.
I know.
I think we just have to be aware, just because life gets busy.
And you know what? That's funny you said that, Amelia, because so the biggest problem that I have, and I find, is that, you know, the built-in forgetter is so real. This world is so dense, and so, you know, the delusion of Maya. This is Maya, the whole matrix, you know, and so we're kind of, you know, it's so dense, and so we really do tend to forget. And I'm a slow learner, unfortunately. I'm a real thick-headed, slow learner. And you know, years ago, few years, maybe about 4 years ago, I was in Key West, and I got, you know, inspired to buy this book, and it's just a blank book, you know. And I was like, and after I bought it, I'm like, I wonder why I bought this, you know. I'm like, what am I going to write in this, you know? And so the spirits were like, you know, write in it, you know, start writing our stuff in it, you know. And I thought they wanted me to just write my book, which I had to start working on. And I got a lot of help from them with it. But, you know, just recently, you know, it only took me 10 years, but, you know, just recently I decided to start, you know, I transcribe my sessions, I put the captions in them, and I post them, and there I have the whole catalog. I have the library of everything. It's all well documented. But what's nice is that if you can go back and read the conversations and go, you know, this is what was said, and this is, you know, and so that's what I've started to do. And already it's nice because I can do a new session with someone or with the same person and open up their past conversations and go, well, let's look at this correspondence, all this correspondence we've had, and you said this, but you've changed, now you're talking like this or whatever, So I think that's something that, people would benefit from. And
Absolutely. I always encourage people to keep a dream journal on their nightstand, especially when they have really vivid dreams. My brother passed away the day before my sister-in-law's 50th birthday. And it was 20 years ago. And it was Father's Day weekend. And then she didn't really dream about him. And then she started to. She said, nothing makes sense. And I said, Loretta, you need to write everything down, whatever you can remember, whatever you do. And I tell people, don't get out of bed because your subconscious goes like this. Yep. So you have to just slowly wake up and start writing, or you will forget everything. It's just part of the way our brain's wired.
Right.
And she wrote it down. And by the time it was his first anniversary, she had a message from my brother that only he could give her.
Yeah, and it took time to collect it.
It's a beautiful thing. It's different ways for different people to receive messages. And some people get them in dream form because it's too emotional for them to have an experience.
And they may never know. Open enough to see the signs. So
that's
true.
True.
The conscious part about us is not always able to see that, but dreams are a really easy way for soul.
Well, they are, and they're not always what you think. A lot of times you start interpreting the dreams and what they mean. For example, dreaming of death does not mean death. It means something new, the birth of something new, a new beginning in your life. It's completely opposite.
In the Italian culture, death, if you see them in a casket, which my mother said to me, I had seen my father in a casket, and my mother ended up passing away the year after that. My dad lived till he was 90.
Yeah.
So,
But what about the Italian culture? What do you mean by that?
The Italian culture, sorry. I do this sometimes. I have a really bad headache. You have to excuse me. I'm sorry. So my focus is everywhere because in my head, I have no focus.
That's fine.
The Italian culture, if you see your loved one in the casket, you've extended their life. And my mom was the one who passed away a year after that dream. And my father lived another 30 years.
But you see, it's the extension of it's a continuation. It's not the end of something. It's a continuation.
She said but she believed that I prolonged his life by having that dream. That's what she was. She was someone who read dreams. She could decipher them so easily.
I would never think that. I would never.
No, I was scared. I called her crying. I was 25 years old. I was scared. 26, because I was 27 when she passed away. So 26,
full-blooded Sicilian, and I've never heard.
My husband's Sicilian.
Yeah, and I just.
It could be a Calabrese thing. I'm Calabrian, so it could be that. Sure. I don't know, but she used to read dreams and decipher them. Speak to anyone in the family, see if they know. It could be something that they didn't talk about with you. You never know.
Yeah.
But the culture believes that. They believe in all these really weird things, and they're also devout Roman Catholics that believe in superstition, which is another thing I can't handle. But
I know it's so ridiculous, but it's fine.
It's hilarious. It's hilarious. I think it's so funny.
Catholics, and I was raised Catholic, so I know I'm not denouncing myself as Catholic. I still, will set foot in church sometimes, occasionally, but it's more for my own personal reasons. It's not
me too
to uphold
I'm
any kind of
that.
Catholic tradition, but but it's just interesting. It's just how they see things. I break it down in my book, as far as, the Bible and what books were taken out and what was misinterpreted and what was,
that's a whole other show there.
That's another show.
We've done that.
We might just have to do it again because we're at the top of the hour already.
I'm available.
I know. Oh, wow. Yeah. Our waiting list and your schedule, it might be a while, but absolutely. Yeah. So this is a part of the show where you promote yourself, tell everybody what you have coming up, how to find you, the book, the whole shebang.
Sure. Yeah. HOPEparanormal.com. HOPEparanormal.com is the place to find all hope related things. You got the book, you got Finding Hope in the Afterlife, the book, you got the app, the Hope Spirit Box app, which is available on iOS and Android for free. We've got, the classes that I don't have a new class lined up yet, but I just got done with one. So there will be. And if you go to the website, you can subscribe to the mailing list and get updates on stuff. And I do have that event coming up in New Orleans, August 26th. I still have a few tickets left. It's a limited event. I don't like to have too many people there. So, it is so that I can spend time with everyone. But that is coming up. You can get everything again, HOPEparanormal.com, and TikTok I'm on there, YouTube, I'm on all those things. So
you need to check out our friend Bishop James Long when you're on TikTok.
I have.
I've seen
his rants on why would you do
he's
this?
a really good friend of mine. I've known him for a long time.
That's
cool.
He's
so sweet.
He was reviewing. He duetted that one kid that's got the long blonde hair, that Thor kid that I don't know what he is. He goes out and does he goes out and purposely tries to summon demons, and
you guys should do something together.
Long was
it would
like,
be
why
really
would
cool.
you do that? Don't you do that? God, he was getting so mad at the guy.
I always tease him. I said, you still talk like we're in the 50s. He's the type of man that would say swell and gosh. And
That's cool. That's cool. Yeah.
You should do something with him.
Yeah.
Well,
cool.
I'm open. I'm open to work with people. I just, it's never, it doesn't always work out the best because, they get, something happens and I'm always like, I'm just trying to do, I don't know.
I suck on TikTok. I just watch. I suck on it.
I wouldn't be on TikTok if I didn't have my clips to share. So it's not like I'm out there doing trends
hard.
or anything.
It's more your generation. Yeah, it's hard.
Well, Josh, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for being here. Thanks for sharing.
You guys are great. Yeah. Thank you. It's really
thank you. We'd love to do it again. We'll just have to connect up schedules.
Yep. Awesome.
Well, all right. Thank you. Have a good night. Have a great long weekend. Happy 4th.
Happy 4th. Happy 4th. God bless everybody. Okay.
Good night. Well, that was really interesting. I really, really enjoyed his perspectives on everything. I thought it was really interesting. He does do things differently and very nobly. Realistically, he's so humble, and I love that. And thank you. Have a great night. Thank you. So big thank you to Joshua for tuning in. It was a real pleasure. I definitely would love to have him come back on and join us. Thanks to everybody in chat. The chat room was really on fire tonight. Remember, guys, if you like what you see on whichever platform you were watching, please subscribe or like us up. It would be really awesome. We appreciate your support more than you know. If you'd like to specifically communicate with Amelia and myself, you want to be a guest on the show, you want to see a certain topic, please, theouterrealmcontact@gmail.com, theouterrealmcontact@gmail.com. Bring in those commercials if you want to give yourself a little bit of promoting. You want to promote yourself, tell us about yourself, but it has to involve Folgers coffee. We want to see Folgers.
Yeah, we need to hear it too because it's not all visual.
Give us something, and it'll be in front of millions of people. It'll air more than one time, and it will remain in the archives with hundreds of thousands of people seeing it forever and ever and ever. So I think it's a great way to join in the fun. Now for next week, we are really, really pleased to welcome the return of both Preston Dennett and Dolly Saffron. You guys always see Dolly in the chat room. They're going to be discussing Preston's new book, Symmetry, which is actually a story about Dolly's lifetime of ET experiences. And as she said in chat tonight, she is a fully conscious ET hybrid. And there's a whole lot more to this story. It's fascinating. Proud to call her a friend, and just the story is amazing. So I'll have to let you guys just tune in and hear it for yourselves. Now, Thursday evening for the very first time, and I'm really hoping I say this properly, but it could be Michael or Mikhail Clerk. I'll have to get clarification on that. I hope I don't butcher it. And he's going to discuss how you can harness the power of your unconscious through your dream incubation. We're talking about dreams tonight. It's an age-old technique which teaches you to access hidden wisdom, which can be used for personal development. Holy crap, Amelia, we need that completely. But for Canada and for the United States, we have Happy Canada Day on Friday, Happy 4th of July on Monday. It's going to be crazy both sides of the border, but everybody, if you're traveling on the roads, have fun, be safe, and we will see you guys all here next week. So thank you and good night.